All right, it is exactly 6:30. Call to order. I'm going to let Councilmember Mark Terry, he's going to lead us in a moment of silence, so please stand.
On behalf of this council and the residents of Canyon Lake, I would like to convey our deepest condolences to the family of Deputy Isaiah Cordero. Mr. Mayor, I ask that we observe a moment of silence in his honor.
Thank you for that. Now please join me in a moment of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this evening, Lord. Thank you that we get to honor the ones that we've lost, Lord, who've given the ultimate sacrifice. And it's a sad occasion, Lord, for the county, and we need to be reminded of the importance of these folks when they go out there day in and day out. We need to be keep them in our prayers and our hearts and their families and their minds, Lord, and be with them every step of the way. Thank you, Lord, that we get to be here in Canyon Lake. Bless us tonight, Lord. Help us make good decisions for our community. And in your name, amen.
Amen.
I am going to let our city manager lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Castillo?
Here.
Councilmember Dane?
Here.
Councilmember Terry?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Welty?
here.
Mayor Smith?
Here.
All present.
Awesome. Closed session report. Mr. City Attorney, is there anything to report out of closed session? Mr. City Attorney is joining us on the phone.
Why not?
All right, bear with us. We have to get our city attorney on the phone.
There is nothing to report out of closed session.
That's fine. Do we want to make up accommodations for our city attorney on the phone now, or?
Yeah, I'll have the city clerk work on that, but we can
Perfect.
proceed.
We can proceed. Thank you. All right, I do need, all right, we're moving on to approval of city council agenda. Mr. City Manager.
No
anything to
changes,
change?
Mr. Mayor.
Perfect. I need a motion and a second on this.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Perfect. Moving on to ceremonial manners. Do we have Susan Gamble in the audience? Yes, she's here. You join me up here. She is our Citizen of the Month, so please give her a round of applause. I get to say nice things. It's not working, is it?
Just be loud.
Does it move? Does it move? Perfect. All right, Susan. So I was told Red Cross disaster from 1994 to 2008. Is that correct? You, in 1995, first time donating blood ever. You have donated blood 33 times. 33 times.
Technically,
Oh, I'm sorry.
34.
34 times.
One is not on record because I did it in Thailand.
It's turned, oh, okay, that's why. So 33, one's on record. It equals, I'm told, 4 gallons of blood.
Wow.
That scared me. And I was told here that you will continue to donate blood until your health or age doesn't allow it. So you've been doing this your whole life.
Most of my adult life, yes.
So with that, you blood for you. Thank you so much. Susan, we recognized you as our Citizen of the Month. We're so proud of you that you're willing to do this. More people need to do this, and I think you're encouraging people through your story. If you can give 4 gallons, we can definitely give blood here and there. So thank you for doing that. We want to get a picture with the entire council for our Citizen of the Month. So I think Dawn is going to take a photo, and Corey. So everyone come up here so we can honor our Citizen of the Month. What, you have to say a few things or no? Come on, Susan. Tell us what, come on.
Well, I was a Red Cross volunteer and was afraid of needles when I was in college. And then I decided to get tested for the blood mower, the bone marrow registry, which I'm also on. Never been called, but so I've been donating blood since then. My husband and I donated in Thailand.
Wow.
A week after the tsunami, we happened to be there, arriving after the tsunami. That was the most interesting blood donation we have ever done.
I can imagine.
So that's a little bit of my blood journey.
Well, congratulations on being our Citizen of the Month.
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough.
You
Let's get
saved
photos.
lives.
Yeah, you saved
I'm
lives.
really proud of you, so
Yeah.
thank you.
It's so important to get blood.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, don't blink.
Susan's top left. Okay, look at Gloria. Same thing. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. All right, moving on. Small Business Emergency Relief Grant. This one's awesome. Do we have the, she getting it? Look at the big check, everyone behind you. Okay, is Robin Henry in the audience? Yes, there she is. Okay, perfect. I get to say better things as well, so come on up. And the council as well, because this is a massive check. I can't hold it by myself.
Fabulous. I've always wanted to hold one of these.
So I think I have to speak in the microphone, right? So we have to do this.
Just trade it for a real one.
Yeah, since our portable microphone's not working due to budget cuts. Okay.
No, you can't have any.
No, we give that. We want a microphone. We so badly want a microphone. So the council, many cities throughout the county, throughout the state, throughout the United States received COVID relief funds, ARPA funding. And so we were able to do this grant particularly to Robin at Studio One Hair Salon for $10,000. This business was started in Canyon Lake in 1998. Is that correct? So you've been in business over 25 years. So we're excited to be able to honor you and give you this massive check. Now you can't cash this one, you tried. Dale Welty tried, but they wouldn't take it. So on behalf of the council, we just want to say congratulations. We're happy that we can support you. And we want to be a resource to you. So thank you so much for taking a couple photos. You have a few things you want to say? I'll hold this.
Sure.
So that way you can talk and not.
I don't know really I didn't really come prepared, but
That's okay.
I just thank you so much. I mean, it was really a big challenge to this whole thing. They closed us for 4 months, and we just stuck it out. We love what we do at Studio One, right? Right, Donna?
Yeah.
Right? That's one of her places to go. And I'm just so grateful. So again, thanks a million. Appreciate it so much.
Come on in, Mark Terry. Am I scooting?
That's cool.
hey, look, don't wait.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Did I keep this? Or is this yours? Did it go back to you?
Yeah.
Or is it- Okay, it was fun.
Corey's like, we need it for next time, so.
Right? I thought that would be kind of fun.
That was cool. Community reports. Before we go into that, Casey, you remember during COVID, everyone wanted to shut all of our businesses down, and you came up with the idea to do a Zoom meeting with all of our businesses. I think we had close to 60 or 80 business owners on that call, and we talked about not being a problem for our local businesses, but being a solution. So that just reminded me of the importance of local control and telling Sacramento to pound sand. All right, community report. We get to hear from Director Darcy Burke. The floor is yours, and it's way over there. I'm sorry.
You want to move it back?
That would be nice.
Move the floor, please.
I think this is usually where I stand. Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, residents. First of all, I just want to say, Chris, I wish you the best of luck, but I want to thank you. The last 4 years have been pleasurable. As the Water District in the city, we've been able to tackle some pretty big problems. I'm really looking forward to code enforcement, being able to get out there and address some health and safety concerns that we've had for a long time. And you've always come to the table to be solution-oriented, and we'll figure it out, and I appreciate it. I wish you well. I'm going to take it personally that you're leaving, so thank you very much. But I didn't want that to go without saying, because probably next month there'll be more people. Tomorrow night, we will consider applicants for the vacancy left by the unexpected passing of Phil Williams. So we have 5 active applicants right now. We will do interviews, and hopefully make a selection. If we're unable to make a selection tomorrow night, we'll hold a special meeting on Thursday, January 19th. And if we're still unable to make a selection, it'll go to the county supervisors. But I really don't think that, I'm hoping that that will not happen. With all the rain, I know everybody thinks the drought's over, and you're actually right, but the governor doesn't agree with me. So he continues to say we're under drought conditions while we have an emergency flood order in place. So a lot of people ask me, well, what can we do about it? So I've actually been thinking about that a lot today, and you need to have your voices heard. So it's call our senator, call our assemblyman, call the governor and say, open the pumps, turn the pumps on. Let's move water to where we can store it. Let's move water to the Central Valley where they can recharge the groundwater basins. That water going out underneath the ocean isn't benefiting anybody, and it's not even benefiting the fish. So as long as we're silent, it'll be standard operating procedures. I want to thank Councilman Terry for joining us today for a tour of the presentation of the regional wastewater plant, and then for our Canyon Lake water treatment plant, even though it's offline. So I really appreciate the time and the interest. You asked excellent questions, which is always nice. It makes for a good conversation. And I really appreciate your interest, generally speaking. We are looking to start our budget process. I talked about it at our coffee this morning with the mayor. We'll probably be raising rates. We've experienced an 18% inflation like the rest of you. We have a lot of rolling stock or a fleet. The gas didn't go up. Chemical prices have tripled. So it's not about penalizing our customers. We're working really hard and diligently to offset those expenses through grants, through any type of program we can get on, through contracts where they'll honor the prices for as long as we can. But I just want people to be aware I'll probably be coming back in the next 6 months to tell you that we're going to be raising rates. And I'd rather have those conversations now than at the last minute when everybody's like, I didn't know. I want to also thank the sheriff. I wasn't able to see you earlier for the effort the dive team made in trying to recover those vehicles in the North Ski area. Hopefully that was the first practice, and maybe we could have future ones. I'm just going to put that out there. That's all I have for this evening. If you have any questions, I'm happy to ask.
Can you provide suggested language or information so that we can either have a resolution or do correspondence to those individuals who could make decisions beneficial?
Absolutely.
We want to sound smart.
You are smart.
And we also want to indicate that we mean business in terms of this. You come every month and tell us the same thing, and I think it's time that we,
Yes.
as the council,
I agree 100%.
take that action.
Yep.
Well, I was very supportive that you all signed on to the Solve the Water Crisis Partners. There will be a March for Water on March 1st in Sacramento, and it's about water management. No matter how much, I don't care if Sacramento is flooding, they're going to march. So whether you can march there or visit your legislator and say, enough is enough.
Yeah.
It's time that people and our children and our food security matter. So I will send proposed language to your city clerk, and she can distribute it if that's appropriate.
Okay.
Anything else?
Any other comments, questions?
I just appreciate your service and being up front early with the fee changes, so appreciate that.
Thank you.
I would personally like to thank you for today's visit. It was incredible.
Thank you.
And the one thing I came away with is we as residents have an obligation to educate ourselves on what they do. I think a lot of the conversation today was about misinformation. And if we can all educate ourselves on the great work that they do and the efforts that they make, as she is stating, we're really lucky to have you. And it was a great team, and it was an honor to be there today.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time and all of your interest and the spirit of working together to solve problems. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next we're moving on to Canyon Lake Property Owners Association. President Renee Griffiths, you're up. If she's Mr. Cook.
You guys get me tonight.
That's okay.
It's hard to follow up with Darcy, I'll be honest with you. But thank you, council, for letting us address the council and so forth. A couple just notifications. Just want to let everybody know that on the POA website, you sign up for the camera program. I think we're trying to get out there and get it. It's really like 2 clicks and you're already signed up, so it's as easy as you possibly can. So we really want to make sure the community is signed up. If you have cameras and you want to share, if something happens on your street and a police officer comes to your house and wants to look at your cameras, they know how to get a hold of you. So please sign up for that. That'd be great. January 24th, we're doing a joint workshop, and that's going to be for the clubs about the new fee structures, what permits the events need to happen. I encourage everybody to be there. I think all of us will be there, both the city council and the POA board. I think that's super, super important. I think it's always good that all of us get together in the same room and we can work and talk and so forth. So that'd be great. A couple projects, obviously a lot of people know, but we started our solar project yesterday. What's today? Wednesday. Sorry, Monday. This week is dragging, sorry. So we did start the solar project in Equestrian Center first, and then it's gonna move on to the parking lot with the tennis courts and Sunset Beach for solar, and then it will go to the golf course. This will take each location I think is gonna take about a month to finalize and get done. This will save the POA and the property owners over $3 million over about a 25-year span is the plan. So it's no cost to us. This was a leasing program, just like many of the homeowners use, so it is no cost to anybody up front. That's great. The lodge project, indoor and outdoor, there's really 2 projects there. We're hoping to start and break ground on that project in early February. That's the initial plan. It should take about 120 days to finish that and get it done. Also, the Canyon Lake Drive South median should be starting about that same time. So all those information, all the renderings and so forth are on the Canyon Lake POA website. So I encourage anybody that wants us to know more about it, I think we've stepped up our game in the last year, providing more information on the website, more images, more descriptions and so forth. I think that's all I got for you guys. Concert series is coming up. Make sure you guys know that. And then both restaurants, both the Lodge and the Lighthouse, have live music on Friday night. So if you guys want to go and have fun and do a little bit of dancing, you're more than welcome. Any questions?
Any questions?
Just to comment on the camera program, you're not obligated to share your cameras. It's simply that if something happens, they give us contact information. So someone call up and say, are your cameras available? Can we take a look? But there's no obligation to disclose it.
Yeah, the idea is, people that have cameras can sign up, and if something does happen and police come knock on your door and want to look at your cameras, it's your choice to show it. If you don't want to show it or anything. Like, for example, my house, I have 4 cameras in my house. 2 out the backyard, 2 out the front yard. I mean, I signed up immediately if I could help my neighbors out. And so I think at any time we have more eyes and ears in the community, any way we can do right now, it helps our security, it helps, bringing people that are causing issues to justice and so forth.
On that note too, really appreciate Bill. He's in the audience. He serves on the POA. He reached out to us at the city to do a joint video, and we did that today, pushing that program. And obviously the Sheriff's Department signed up on it too. So we're excited to partner with you guys on that and help out with the launching of that and try to get it out to as many people as possible. So appreciate you taking the time this evening, Bill, to do that video with us. And, we'll get going on that. Any other questions for the POA? Good to go. Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, guys.
Of course. All right, Chamber of Commerce, new leader, new president. John Grande's in the house.
Hey. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Welty, council members, city staff, citizens. I'm thrilled to be here today. A few things. Next week, we are very excited, we being the chamber, to have our first board meeting with our new members, 2023 members. We don't have all the slots filled yet, but we're getting close. Next week, the 19th of January, which is Thursday, we'll be hosting a speed networking event at Pepe's. 6 p.m. it starts. So, if anyone's ever heard of what speed dating is like, it's similar, but businesses, right?
Nice.
And I think a lot of people in the room are members, so even non-members are welcome. So come on down, promote your business, network, support the chamber, and support Pepe's. Business of the month, we're proud to announce that it's going to be Pure Studios, which has been becoming more and more active in the chamber and a great addition to our town center here. One of our goals for this year is we really want to really put more efforts to supporting the home-based businesses. They seem to be the unsung heroes here in the community, so we really want to come up with a plan to focus that. We're currently working with Councilmember Terry and City Manager Mann to come up with some ideas on how to do this. And first and finally, I'd like to congratulate Chris Mann and Anna Sacedo on their new opportunities coming up, and you'll be missed. You've been a huge advocate for the chamber. We hope whoever it is that you bring in next will fit those large shoes well. All right, thanks. Have a good night.
Absolutely. Any questions?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Any questions? All right. We are good.
When's the date of the chamber meeting?
The speed networking, that's the
I thought
19th.
you were gonna have your first,
That's next,
board meeting.
the board meeting is on Monday.
okay.
Yeah, that's strictly board meeting. That's our first board member meeting with the new board.
Got it,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you guys.
All right. Okay, moving on. Public safety update. I think we have our captain in the house, and he's going to introduce someone this evening.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, and staff. Glad to be here with you again. I wanted to introduce to you your new lieutenant, Will Edwards, who comes to us from Empire Training Center, but he's seasoned, but been around for quite a bit of time, and looking forward to having him here with you guys, but I'll have him introduce himself.
Yeah, so my name is Will Edwards. Been with the department for 23 years, 4 years as a lieutenant, variety of assignments, and just looking forward to getting out here and working with all of you.
Perfect. Thank
Welcome.
you. Welcome.
We love law enforcement.
Yep.
Yes, they do. Very supportive.
We're happy
I've already
to
told
have
him
you.
all about you guys. So
Okay,
That's
good.
good.
Spread the word.
he's ready to go.
We're excited to have you.
And what's nice now is we have 3 lieutenants that each have just one city, so it's nice. Not
Oh,
to have-
nice.
He's not gonna have to bounce around. He's completely 100% assigned to Canyon Lake, so.
Nice.
And patrol operations. He's got all the patrol operations too, for the whole entire station, so that's big shoes to fill there, so he'll be busy.
Perfect.
And I also have for you your public safety report for the last month, covered December 2022. Deputies responded to 418 calls for service. That was an increase of 62 calls from November, which was 356. During the month of December, there were 9 Part 1 crimes. You had two assaults, 3 burglaries, 5 thefts, and 2 motor vehicle thefts. Also during the month of December, deputies wrote 4 traffic citations, investigated only 1 traffic collision. Overall, there were 5 arrests made in the city, 1 for DUI, 1 for drug possession, 2 for restraining order violations, and then 1 for a stolen vehicle. And then priority 1 calls response times was right at 7 minutes and 42 seconds, which is about the average going across the board. And then priority 2, which is a little bit lesser, was at 23 minutes and 65 seconds. So that is your report for December. I am working on the report for the entire year, and I'm waiting probably about mid-month. I'll get the stats. So then I'll do a full report. That way you can see kind of how it has been the past few years.
Any questions for our captain and new lieutenant? I have one. Captain, you get it. Canyon Lake is a unique city. We like to communicate with each other, and we spread some stuff as quick as we can. We post stuff on social media. Sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. Is there an effort from the Sheriff's Department in regards to press releases on issues, kind of helping out with a little bit? I'm getting some, not just from one person in the community, but several people trying to get the answers to some of the issues that we're having, if that's something that's being worked on, or?
It is. That's funny because we just had a meeting yesterday, and that was one of the topics we brought up, getting notifications out quicker and doing more press releases. Press releases are tough because sometimes we have ongoing investigations
Right.
where we don't want to put out that information. And what happens in a small town like this is a lot of those big investigations go to our Special Investigations Bureau, our Homicide Unit, different bureaus within the county, and they don't put out the press releases sometimes. So we've got to find a way to get that information from them once they're completed with the investigation and put it out. Obviously, if it's something that occurs, we get them in custody, and then like traffic accidents, we do those pretty quick when we have major traffic accidents. But some of the investigations take a little bit longer to be able to put information out.
Okay, so that's kind
We're
of.
working on it.
You're working on that?
Yes.
I think that'll help us out because, we constantly get blasted, what's happening, what's going on, and we just don't want to, not that we don't have what we think or what's going on. The city manager does a great job letting us know when there's serious issues, but I know it'd be easy to send off a press release that you guys have come up with from your PIO or however you're handling it, so.
Great. And those come from our sergeants, so we just have to educate them,
Yeah,
get them to, and really push them to start putting those out more.
awesome.
We're working on that, putting out more on social media, so you'll see a little change coming up.
Thank you so much. Any other questions?
No, just a comment that we are really a tight-knit community, and the information does flow. Sometimes the misinformation flows. So any corrected information you guys can put out would be greatly appreciated by both the council and the citizens. Would be extremely happy with that.
You've been great, Captain. Seriously, you put up with us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
I do have one more thing. I just want to thank the city council, city staff, and the citizens of Canyon Lake for all their support the last week and a half. Everybody knows that on the 29th, we lost a deputy in the line of duty. Deputy Isaac Cordero was killed violently by a career criminal that shouldn't have been out of custody, period. But all the support and just, I got blasted with emails and support online, and we really appreciate the prayers. So,
Love you guys.
thank you.
All right, moving on, code enforcement.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. For the month of December, we issued 5 notice of violations for MPDS. This basically means we had erosion on the street from the storms that we've been having lately on our construction sites. A total of 8 administrative nuisances, NOVs were issued for all those, 8 of them. 2 inoperable vehicles in public view, notice violations were issued to those as well. 1 citation was issued to a vehicle on BLM, and we are seeing a high increase in dirt bikes and UTVs. Zoning, we have 3 unpermitted signs in the town center. 3 notice of violations were issued for those. We did find 3 new short-term rentals for the month of December. We issued a notice of violation, and we are currently monitoring those. For our residential rental registrations, we have 349 registrations, 147 have renewed, 172 pending renewal, 2 inspections were conducted, and 42 are still pending.
Any questions for code enforcement? How is the correspondence with POA and your department in regards to who is a tenant and who is not? How's that been?
I'm gonna say we're not really, I think we've been pretty good ourselves with kind of getting these. I know they're limited with information that they can provide, so we
Yeah.
don't really try to push too much and kind of just do it on our own.
Because, although I think initially, when we ran these numbers, we're looking at anywhere between, I think it was 600 to 800 absentee homeowners here in Canyon Lake. So to see that we only have 350 participating in the program shows to me that there's a huge disconnect between the information that the POA has and the information that the city has. And I know that's been a problem that we've been trying to work on and hopefully we can resolve. Can you do me a favor, since we're talking about this, can you describe to me the importance of this program and what you have seen when you've gone out and inspected properties that have been an issue and why we created this program?
Yeah, so a lot of the issues that we come across on these rentals is a lot of water leaks, water damage, and it can go both ways. It helps the owner realize what condition the property's in, but also the condition that the tenants are living in. There's been some tenants that have had to move out so that they can eradicate mold. So there are a lot of issues we come across that can be life-threatening to our tenants, and we don't want to see a property, crumble down because of the lack of that. So this has helped a lot. We get a lot of owners thanking us. In fact, a lot of them do come show up with us so that they can as well take a look at the condition of their property.
Absolutely. I know we have a couple directors in the audience, and this is something that we really need help with from the POA, because I think this program is lacking more than 50%. And I think that this is an opportunity where we can really help out tenants in our community. I know there's stories, and being a landlord myself, there's stories of some of my colleagues in the landlord business having homes that have extension cords from one room to the next because they didn't want to do power properly, or growing weeds the size of trucks in the back of the car, back in the backyard, and those are the type of things that we're trying to eliminate. So it would be nice if we could make this one of our goals in 2023 to try to partner with the POA to do all we can to increase this number to what we believe is actually accurate.
We
So,
do also come across on a lot of our realty, like say Redfin, Zillow, a lot of properties that are being rented, and that's kind of what we're looking out for too, not just short term, but who's renting their properties and have not registered.
yeah, and that's helpful too. And I mean, the easiest, none of these tenants could simply live in this community if they didn't have POA access.
Right.
So it's a very easy solution. We just got to find a way to get there. But I can't thank you enough. You guys kill it with this, and I've heard a lot of good things, and it's been very smooth, and it's not hostile at all. The process has been very good. So, any other questions for code enforcement? We're good. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Fire Chief, you are up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, city staff, Jeff Latendress, your fire chief. And before I start, I guess, it's important to note that this is our 1-year birthday. It's our 1-year anniversary. And so as we look at the numbers, we'll see kind of what we've accomplished at the end of the year. And like the sheriff said, we are in the process of preparing an annual report that will review all of last year. But I just want to, on behalf of the fire department, thank the staff, the city, the community, the POA, everyone that had a part in our successes, and we are just eternally grateful. So with that said, excuse us. You have to turn it on. Our monthly report for the month of December. So in the month of December, we ran a total of 79 calls. It was our slowest month of the year. So that was kind of interesting to note as we compile our look at what months are our busier month, what months are our slower months. Obviously, the summer is a lot busier for us, but 79 calls. And so what that means is for the year total, we ran 1,107 incidents. So that's just over 3 incidents a day. In the month of December, we responded to 6 fires, 54 medical aids, 5 service calls, 9 good intent calls, 3 false alarms, and 2 calls that ended up not getting any type of report associated with them. The 6 fire calls, the first one was a cooking fire on December 3rd in Canyon Hills. So it was at a mutual aid response in the 34,000 block of Canyon Rim. The second one was in the Meadowbrook area on December 5th in the 27,000 block of Perch. We actually, it was a fairly significant fire. There were 2 critical burn patients. Our paramedic engine was assigned to patient care. One of the patients was airlifted to Arrowhead Hospital where the burn center is. So it was a significant fire with significant results on that one. Our next fire was a vehicle fire on December 19th at the 30,000 block of Clearwater. Ironically, during this fire, we had a critical patient that was injured at the Equestrian Center. We were transporting to Riverside General Hospital in Moreno Valley. While we were involved in that transportation, we got a report of a vehicle fire. So I was dispatched along with County Engine 5. The automatic aid system worked perfectly. There was no delay in the response, and the fire was confined to the engine compartment of the vehicle. The next fire was a cooking fire on December 24th in the 29,000 block of Shipjack, and it was a grease buildup fire. Someone cooking on Christmas Eve, getting ready for the next day. And then Finally, we had a significant structure fire in the community of Good Hope in the 24,000 block of Sophie. Our engine was the second unit on scene, and our personnel were assigned to interior fire attack. And then finally, on December 30th, we had a trash fire in the area of Meadowbrook at the intersection of Greenwald and Audrey. So kind of a busy fire month for us.
Very much so.
Again, when our calls occur, we're seeing a little bit of a change there. The middle of the afternoon seems to have been a decrease. Normally that was a peak we saw. We still have the peak in the evening hours, but the last couple months we've seen this dip in the middle of the day. So again, we'll analyze this once we have all of our year statistics and be able to plan better. During the month of December, this is where our incidents did occur in the lake. And again, if you look at the location of our fire station at the top of the map, a lot of them weren't near the fire station. So as we talk about response times, this is a component of that total response time that we can't control, is the travel component of it. So when our calls are over on the other side of the lake, it takes us a little bit longer to get there. Our average response time during the month of December, we had a little bit of an increase from last month. We went from 1 minute 5 seconds to 1 minute 10 seconds for an average. And that's our turnout time. Our travel time went from 5:08, and it actually dropped down to 4:51. And our overall response time dropped from 6:13 to 5:54. Again, this is one of our components that we use to see how well we're responding to these incidents, but really what we like to talk about is our fractile time. 90% of the time on our EMS calls, how quickly are we getting there? So we went up just 2 seconds in our turnout time from last month. We went from 5 seconds, 143 to 147. Our travel time went from 7:05 to 7:09, and our overall response time went from 8:12 to 8:33. So we're close to our department goals, and again, as we look at our annual report, we'll see how close we're coming. Look and see if we need to adjust those goals. Are we meeting them enough? Are they achievable, or do we need to modify them a little bit? So that's the value of that annual report. Automatic and mutual aid, during the month of December, we responded 13 times outside the city, 9 in the Lake Elsinore area, 2 in Menifee, none in Paris, and then 2 in Good Hope. Overall, this year, we responded to 133 incidents, or roughly 12% of our responses have been on automatic or mutual aid. 108 of those in Lake Elsinore, 17 in Menifee, 6 in Paris, and then 2 in Good Hope. This again is a heat map showing where those incidents occurred. This is year to date for the heat map. So you can see that big orange dot, that's in Meadowbrook. And so as we plan for the future, that's an area that has an impact on the location of our fire station and the responses that we go on. Automatic and mutual aid received. So Riverside County CAL FIRE responded in the city of Canyon Lake 7 times during the month of December. Total for the year, they responded 130 times. So if you look at it, they came in 130 times for incidents. We responded to them 133 times. So our agreements are reciprocal, and they are working, and they're equitable. So we're happy with those numbers. And this is a heat map showing where they have responded to year to date inside the community. And you can see it's a little bit different. They're all over our map. You know, when our engine is committed and the next call comes in, or a call that takes multiple units, it occurs anywhere and everywhere inside our city limits. Training hours. So the A shift completed 33 hours, the B shift 29, and the C shift 29. And so we're close to each crew having over 1,000 hours of training each and every day, each and every year. The focus this month was on vertical ventilation, as you see in our training prop that we purchased with ARPA funds, positive pressure ventilation, EMT and paramedic continuing education, fire behavior and transitional attack, hose evolutions, along with the use of our 35-foot ladder. And then we had a post-incident review of the canyon fire, and that was the structure fire that we had on Halloween last year. And the crew that was on the fire shared what they learned and what they did with all the crews that weren't there. So we shared that knowledge and information with the entire department. Fire prevention during the month of December, we didn't issue any permits. Site plan reviews, there were none. It was kind of a slow month, as our building official talked earlier today at the finance meeting. Construction inspection, though, we did do 4 special event permit applications. There was 1. We did have 1 special event inspection. We are still finishing up those state mandated inspections, and so there were 3 of those. And again, as we mentioned during our earlier meeting, the fire department is prepared to take over the business inspection program this month. We've got a new computer program that we'll be utilizing on our iPads. It will be all electronic, and you'll start seeing us, instead of code enforcement, going into our business community and conducting those fire inspections. They've done a great job, but it's now that we've got everything in place, it's time for us to transition and take that responsibility over. Public education and relations, we participated and we did an exceptional job with the Spark of Love Toy Drive. The number of toys that were collected here in Canyon Lake was amazing. County Fire, which coordinates it for the entire county, was impressed and amazed with the number of toys that they picked up at our fire station in the 3rd week of December, so they could get them out to the community. So thanks to the community for all their contributions. Winter Wonderland, the Holiday Golf Cart Parade, we worked with the Roadrunners on their toy drive, the Lions Club on their toy drive. Those were all part of the ones that we donated to Spark of Love. And then again, just our firefighters interacting with the community on each and every call, each and every trip when they're out in the public. So that concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Any questions, council? Just want to say congratulations on 1 year. That is a huge accomplishment, my friend. Absolutely amazing, incredible. I know the community is so supportive, and it's been quite the year, hasn't it?
It's been amazing, and the support is something that it keeps the guys going. It really does.
You would know. Question for you. I know in the previous months we've had at least 1, possibly 2 individuals come to the firehouse and request for medical aid. How has that been? Has it died down? Is this the first month that you haven't had someone come?
You know, we were trying to streamline the slides, and I took that slide out, so I haven't looked at it at the last couple months to see where we're at. But I think with our call volume, the numbers have gone down.
Okay, because we want to make sure we get that message out to call 911, not to show up on a golf cart asking for medical aid.
Correct, and should anybody ever show up and there's nobody there, there is a red phone outside under the patio on the front porch there, and that goes directly to the sheriff's department. So if there is an emergency, it's just like having 911 if they don't have a phone available.
Perfect. Any other questions for our chief? Go ahead.
You know, you wanted to thank us for the part that we played in your success. And if I may, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this because we're going to repeat ourselves here, but I believe it was you who said we will be there for the community and not just during emergency incidents. We will engage with the public to be active and reliable members of the Canyon Lake family. And if I may indulge myself, during the past year, you supported and participated in almost every one of our community events, including your own grand opening, Little League Opening Day, Junior Lifeguards, Easter Egg Hunt, National Day of Prayer, Fiesta Days, Movie Nights, Club Rush, Neighbors Appreciation Party, Taco Tuesdays, 4th of July, National Night Out, paddle outs, fishing derbies, golf tournaments, carnaments, concerts, car shows, Halloween, the 9/11 event, Veterans Day, Winter Wonderland, golf cart parades, tree lighting ceremonies, and that's probably just naming a few. You and the men and women of your department are the reason for your success, and we are honored to have you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Happy 1 year. All right. Now that Councilmember Terry's made us all cry, we're going to move on to public comments. Madam Clerk, will you please read the comment statement? Well done.
Any person wishing to address the City Council on any matter within the jurisdiction of the city, whether or not it appears on this agenda, is asked to complete a speaker request form available on the back counter. The completed form is to be submitted to the City Clerk prior to an individual being heard by the City Council. The City Council has adopted a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you're commenting on the agenda item, your comments will be heard at the time that particular item is scheduled on the agenda. Please note that if you're addressing the City Council on items not on the agenda, the Brown Act does not allow discussion of such items. Therefore, the City Council may only do the following: refer the matter to staff, ask for additional information or request a report back, or give a very limited factual response. Members of the public may still submit their comment electronically by sending an email with their comment to publiccomment@canyonlakeca.gov. Comments submitted electronically will be provided to the City Council and included in the official record, but will not be read aloud during the meeting. I have no comment cards.
Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, will you please read the consent calendar statement?
All items listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine matters, status reports, or documents covering previous City Council action. The items listed on the consent calendar may be enacted in one motion. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member may request that an item be removed for further discussion. Staff recommends approval of all items.
We have 5 items on the consent calendar. Are there any motion to take away or discuss any items? No one wants to pull? Okay, I do need a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar as is.
I'll make a motion.
Perfect. Need a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dean?
Aye.
Councilmember Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Awesome. Moving right along, business item number 6 for those of you that are following around. This is receive and file. All right, review of fiscal year 2021-2022. Terry, the floor is yours. Audited financial statements. Tell us some good news, please.
Your Honorable Mayor, City Council, staff, it's always tough to follow the chief, so Councilman Terry, get ready to say some kind things.
Oh, he's gonna go nuts. It's gonna be all money driven.
Is this the control room? All right, this is for the fiscal year 21-22 audited financial statements and related reports. So our fiscal year 2021-22 financial statements, what's called the audit communications letter, and then a report on internal controls. Our auditors are Lansall Longhart out of Brea. They audited the city's financial records inclusive of reviewing internal controls of the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2022. They issued an unmodified report, which is the highest level of assurance they can give. So our general fund balance on June 30th, 2022 is just a little bit over $5 million. The unassigned fund balance, which is the money that the city can spend, is $4.8 million. General fund revenues, $7.3 million, which is one of our highest years ever. Our expenditures are $8,049,000, but included in that $8,049,000 is $982,000 for the 2 fire trucks.
Right.
And so they were acquired through a lease. Those were budgeted in 2021, but were not put into service until this current fiscal year, and that's why they're expensed in 21-22. Other financing acquisition, there's a new, we're governed by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, and they issued a new GASB, which is 87. It has to do with leases, and that's the $131,000 worth of lease revenue. And then we transferred money to the rental fund to cover part of the debt service payment of $326,000. So revenues under expenditures for the general fund for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2022 were $683,000, but without the $982,000 for the fire trucks, which is a non-cash item, the change would be a positive $298,000. We originally budgeted a $572,000 loss, so we ended the year positive.
Yeah.
We budgeted a loss, so a very good year.
Huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And so our general fund revenues were $345,000 higher than the amended budget, and our expenditures were $563,000 less than the amended budget. And we added $1.8 million in capital assets, which is huge for the city. About 95% are fire departments.
Yes.
We also have the ARPA money. So during the year, we received $1,349,000 in ARPA funds. Through June 30th, we spent $532,000. And then on July 13th of 2022, we got a second $1.3 million. Any questions so far?
Any questions for council so far?
And here's kind of how our revenues, so you can see our largest revenues are the property taxes. Sales tax, not real big. UUT,
property tax, BLF, that's another large one, and then the EMS. So any questions on our revenue sources? So here's our expenditures. Our general government, which is city manager, finance, not planning, but and city clerk and city attorney, that's 1.7 million. The police protection from the sheriff, so that's 1.4 million. The fire city, the gray one there, that's 2.6, but 1,600,000 of that is startup costs and capital. So the actual cost was a little over 1.6 million. And then the county fire, which is that orange, is 1.8 million, and then the other departments are filling the rest. So any questions on our expenditures?
Going back, if you don't mind, on general fund revenues, I noticed that for UUT, we're looking at basically 800,000.
Yes.
It used to be what, 1 million, 1.1?
It fluctuates every
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
Is this the lowest it's been?
Yeah.
Way to go, solar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it fluctuates quite a bit, so it depends on how hot the summers are. So it's,
Thank you.
And so then audit communications letter, we adopted a new policy, GASB 87. The auditor said all significant transactions are recorded. The main estimates of this financial statement is our liability for pension and OPEB. We have no significant unusual transactions. The auditors encountered no significant difficulties. There were no corrected or uncorrected mistakes. Auditors had no disagreement with management, and we provided a management representation to the auditors. I think in the 20-some years, the auditors have only found one adjustment to our books, and so most of the time when I audit, we get from 10 to 100 journal entries. So what you guys see quarterly and monthly is pretty accurate. So. And then they also do internal control work, and so they look at our internal controls over financial activities, and they found no weaknesses. And then they look at our compliance with certain provisions of laws and our grants and our contracts, and they found no deficiencies. Any questions? And I also have a copy of the report here if you have any questions of the actual financial statement.
Any questions?
So I comment what a great job that it is to have no errors for that period of time. I have a lot of confidence. Do you have confidence in the finance committee and the work that they do? I just got to say I appreciate that. How you sleep good at night knowing that you guys are in control and watching for us. So thank you.
So I just want to make sure I understand. We're on target for our projected cost for the fire department?
Our last year, yes, we hit them. So,
Good job. Way to go, fire department. Thank you.
Way to go.
Terry, how are investments in Bitcoin doing?
I don't know. Councilmember Terry, how are they doing?
I think
My check's in the mail.
I think the indictments come out tomorrow.
It's a great inside joke. We'll have to share that.
We're governed by the government code, so we have Fannie Mae's and treasury notes and stuff like that, and then certificates of deposit that are fully insured, so we're very safe.
Good save.
For those of you who are wondering what that means, we might have played a joke on Councilmember Terry and Councilmember Dane when they became on the council that they owed the city a few $1,000s because we made a very bad decision with Bitcoin. So, yeah, we like to laugh. All right, this is just a receive and file, is that correct? Do we need a question? Yes.
You found it?
This is, yes.
All right.
I'm sorry, and I'm in the weeds, but it's on page 208 of the report.
What about on the actual audit report itself? Do you have that?
That's, I think that's what it is.
That's it.
Oh,
208.
61?
Okay, that's better. And say this
Like
is a
3
short
different page
report,
numbers.
208 pages, is
Yeah.
that right? Where is it? Okay, 61.
So it's got the budgeted amounts of intergovernmental as original 0 and final. Can you explain those numbers?
So when we originally adopted the budget in May of 21, we didn't have our ARPA money, and so
Okay.
we took that to council in October, and that's why it's in that second column. So it was an adjustment to the budget.
Got it,
So
okay.
this is the ARPA money right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's, all right. I'm good, thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment cards on this?
No comments.
Thank you. I do need a motion and a second. This is a receive and file.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Castillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Councilmember Terry.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Welty.
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Perfect. Moving on, resolution 7. We're on the business item 7 resolution. This is number 2023-04, authorizing the mayor to sign the termination agreement regarding Western Community Energy. Mr. City Manager, this is yours.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. In 2018, the city joined with a number of other cities to join a joint powers authority called Western Community Energy. The idea being to team together and do community choice aggregation. In 2019, the council, when it came time to decide whether or not to actually participate in community choice aggregation and start purchasing power, the council at that time voted not to engage that way. So the city stepped back from WCE and never really participated, but also never officially left the Joint Powers Authority. WCE ran into some financial and legal difficulty along the way and is now in the process of dissolving the JPA. Because we're still on the books on the JPA, we, along with all of the other members, have been asked to adopt this resolution and sign the dissolution paperwork, basically. So, resolution number 2023-04 authorizes the mayor to sign the termination agreement. Staff recommends approval.
Mr. City Manager, can you describe to us why it was the best thing ever that the city decided to vote this down 3-2 back in 2019?
You were very wise, yes. So there was a change on this council in December of 2018, and as a result of that change, the new council decided this might be a little bit too risky. It was unproven, and I think the thinking was, let's wait and see. You know, we can always engage at a later time. And that proved to be a wise decision.
Because unfortunately, fast forward, litigation took place. They went bankrupt. A lot of cities got dragged into it.
Yes.
And we did not.
Correct.
Just wanted that for the record. Any other comments?
What year were you elected?
I don't know. I have no clue.
2018, that's right, that's right.
Any other comments?
No, but I wasn't on the council at the time, but thankful to those members that were newly elected to the council that made that decision, because while we don't have a specific history, we do have a general history of spot market purchases on energy fields, and for a small community, not normally a very good idea at all.
Any other comments? Yeah, that was fun. Okay, I do need any public comments first. Okay, perfect. I need a motion and a second. Can I do so? I move again. I make the motion on this one.
Second.
There we go. There's some memory. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Castillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Councilmember Terry.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Welty.
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
For the last time on this item, aye.
Motion carried to adopt resolution number 2023-04.
Perfect. Moving on. For those of you following along, we're on business item number 8. This is a discussion on designation of voting delegate for SCAG, Southern California Association of Governments, 2022 Regional Conference and General Assembly. That's probably 2023. That's a typo.
Yes.
Good. This is you, Madam Clerk.
Yes, tonight we're asking that the City Council designate a delegate and alternate for the upcoming annual SCAG Regional Conference and General Assembly. This year it's going to be held May 4th and 5th at the JW Marriott Desert Springs in Palm Desert. During the General Assembly, delegates will have the opportunity to consider and take action on proposed resolutions and/or SCAG bylaw revisions that have been submitted and reviewed in accordance with SCAG policies. So if the council would like to make an appointment, I'd be happy to note it and pass it along to SCAG.
All right. What do y'all want to do?
I'll probably be there anyway. I'm on the Energy and the Environmental Subcommittee, so I will be there. So I think I'm happy to go. I believe anyone else can go, or 2 other people can go, because SCAG will be taking me there, I believe. So the council's still open. for other members to attend the meeting.
Anyone want to go? Okay.
No, thank you.
I think I'm going to be there anyways. So if the council's okay with it, Dale and I can go. Is that fine? Does that work?
Yes.
Perfect. Can I make Dale the representative though?
I'd like to see the mayor as a representative.
No, you do better. I'll be the delegate. I'll be there. I'll show you what to do. Yeah, if that's okay. Dale, I'll be the alternate.
Thank you for the privilege, I would say.
I don't think I have a choice.
We believe in you, Dale.
Do we have any public comment cards on this?
No comments.
Because no one else wants it. Motion and second, please.
Motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on. The big one, business item number 9. This is our 2023 City Council goals. Discussion and possibly adoption of proposed goals. Mr. City Manager, take it away.
Yes, thank you. It is Councilwoman Castillo's favorite day of the year.
It is.
We get to go over the goals. Just to recap the purpose, so every year we set goals. We do this goal session to identify and adopt a list of agreed upon priorities for the year. We also look over a matrix of the goals that were set from last year. We hold ourselves accountable to see how we've done in addressing the goals that were set last year. And then we will take a look at some proposed goals from staff based on comments that we've heard, input from the council, input from staff on what we think you will want the priorities to be next year, and you can let us know if we got that right or missed the mark, if you want to add or delete or make whatever changes. Before we dig into goals, I'd just like to remind everyone what the adopted vision is for the city, which is to be a city that provides a quality of life that makes Canyon Lake the premier place to live in Southern California. All right, so let's go over just one by one what those goals were. Fine-tune operations of new departments and programs, including fire department, building department, EMS subscription program, and residential rental program. That was goal number 1 that was set in 2022. Goal number 2 was to implement employee cross-training for organizational resilience. Goal number 3 was to move economic development initiatives forward, and we listed some examples. Number 4 was to finalize the plan and begin implementation of the ARPA funding projects. And we listed some examples there. Number 5 was to improve safety on Railroad Canyon Road. Number 6 was to expand community services and outreach. Number 7 was to build and maintain positive regional relationships. Number 8 was to explore ways to continue supporting local businesses. And number 9 was to explore partnership opportunities with the POA. So now we're going to take a look at those one at a time. The first one being fine-tuning the operations of new departments and programs. The first one that comes to mind naturally is the fire department. We had just launched in January, and it was a busy year for the fire department. We developed and expanded the department's policy manual. It's a 400-page document that provides personnel rules and regulations, as well as procedures on emergency operations. The department has created a digital training manual with standardized procedures for hose lays, ladder evolutions, radio communications, incident command, and fire ground hydraulics. Continue to emphasize the importance and commitment to ongoing training. We've had a total of over 2,200 training hours in the first 11 months of the department's operations. We attended and participated in over 25 community events, responded to over 1,100 incidents. Let's see here. 79% of the time we had a reserve firefighter on duty, which is huge because that means that 79% of the time our engine is rolling with 4 firefighters on the engine instead of 3, which is the standard that we had under the county. So that's pretty exciting. That comes out to 290 out of the 365 days of the year we had that. And as you heard the chief report, we received automatic and mutual aid about equally to how we gave it out. So we feel that our automatic aid agreement is working equitably with the county and with our neighbors. We established a building department last year, except from 2021. And last year was the first full year of operations of that department. That department's been expanding the services it provides, including informational videos on important topics such as propane safety. We experienced an increase in total inspections and total permits issued, and construction permit fee revenue jumped to $536,000, which was good. The EMS subscription program continues to grow and to be popular. We have about a 90% participation rate currently. Revenue from that program alone rose to about $787,000. Over the past year, we've more clearly defined position roles and responsibilities. For example, city administrative staff is now processing the opt-outs, and the fire department executive assistant is reviewing the EMS calls and billing, and that setup seems to be working quite well. We've also made sure that the website was updated to reflect the current information on the program. You heard code enforcement report on the residential rental program. That's going quite well. And let's see, let's move on to goal number 2, which was to implement the employee cross-training for organizational resilience. This is something we focused on quite a bit last year, but we did have some turnover in staff. The executive assistant/analyst position, the executive assistant, the senior executive assistant, and the administrative assistant continue to be cross-trained in both front and back office functions and programs of City Hall. That will continue to be a priority for us. Being such a small organization, when we have one person go out sick for an extended period of time, or we have a vacancy, it can really impact the effectiveness of the organization. We felt that big time during COVID. During that time, we realized just how critical cross-training is, and we're going to make that an ongoing priority internally. Okay, number 3, move economic development initiatives forward. I'll just touch on this briefly. An awful lot of work has gone into economic development over the past year. We continue to work on looking at developable parcels, especially along the Highway 74 corridor that may be poised for economic growth in the future. We've done a fiscal analysis that was conducted to look at that area. We continue to explore those options. We continue to pursue acquisition of the BLM land. We've been doing some environmental studies that would be required in relation to swapping land in and out of the MSHCP, so we continue working on that project. We finalized the town center specific plan this year, which was huge. We have completed some additional improvements to investment properties that the city owns here in the town center, using a variety of funding sources, some general funds, some CDBG grant funding for ADA improvements. We have some ARPA funding slated for additional improvements, so we continue to invest in the city's assets here at the town center. Goal number 4, finalize plan and begin implementation of ARPA funding. Back in March of 2022, the council approved our work program for our ARPA funding. We have all the funding that we're going to receive. We've received it now, and we've been just kind of going down the list and implementing. A couple months back, Corey presented on where we are with that. We continue to go down that program and spend those funds as the council directed. We do anticipate coming back to you in the next couple of months to request additional adjustments to that program as we go along. For example, we've completed some projects that we didn't need as much of the funding that we'd allocated, and in other projects where we've gotten bids and we're coming up a little short, so we might want to ask to shift money around in that program. Let's see here. Number 5, improve safety on Railroad Canyon Road. In August, the city completed our local roadway safety plan to help identify solutions for increasing safety on Railroad Canyon. We have applied for $1.3 million under the Highway Safety Improvement Program to implement that plan, and we expect to hear this spring, perhaps as early as March, on the results of that grant application. Number 6, expand community services and outreach. We've done a lot in this area this year. We've really expanded our events and our programming. I think Councilman Terry mentioned an awful lot of those events when he was congratulating the chief on all the events that the fire department has attended. And I think we're really proud of the slate of events the city now puts on every year, which has grown. I mean, 4 years ago, we did Veterans Day. And boy, it's a good list now. Number 7 was build and maintain positive regional relationships. A long laundry list of regional events that staff and the council's gone to. I won't read through all of them here, but we've been very active regionally, both with the POA, both with our neighboring cities, both with organizations like WRCOG and the League of Cities, and the council's been great at attending a lot of those events as well over the last year. Number 8, explore ways to continue supporting local businesses. So ARPA funding was really one major way that we supported local businesses this year. We had our grant programs, and we delivered a check today, but we also had the gift card program, the Canyon Cash program, which was wildly popular. And I think we've used almost all of the funds that the city has put in there. It's a great way to support local businesses. And of course, throughout the year, the council's attended various ribbon cuttings. And we've worked very well closely with the chamber over the past year. And we actually have a meeting next week to continue exploring ways to work with the chamber and expand our partnership. So we're excited about that. Number 9 was to explore partnership opportunities with the POA. On March 31st, the city held a joint meeting with the POA and EVMWD to discuss each agency's operations, public safety responsibilities, and potential opportunities for cooperative approach to law enforcement. We did establish a city POA committee that met monthly several times to look at the feasibility of enhanced enforcement options. Came up with a good option there. We're just waiting to hear back from the POA on if they want to take us up on what that committee came to there. So I think the results there were good. So that is the list of goals, but then we did an awful lot throughout the year in addition to the goals that were mentioned, and those are in the report here. I won't read through that entire list, but I mean it's everything from commercial cannabis to completing our classification and compensation study and moving salaries to a competitive level where we've been able to recruit and retain good staff. We're addressing issues of safety on the lake as it pertains to boat docks. Let's see, we've looked at increasing fines related to short-term rentals to dissuade short-term rentals. We established a long-term permanent conditional use permit for the farmers market. And I think most importantly, we have really continued our financial resurgence. In 2022 was a great year financially, as you heard Terry say. Our revenues are up. This year we have a projected surplus of about $400,000. We have the 3rd lowest unemployment rate of the 28 cities in Riverside County, which is fantastic. Revenues are projected to increase 5.3% over the last fiscal year to the tune of over $7.2 million. And so we're just, we've got, we're projected to have a $5.7 million balance in our reserves by the end of the year, which is 83% of our annual operating expenses, which is, extremely healthy. So, yeah. So we're very pleased with the financial progress the city has made over the last few years, and that continues now. So that brings us to, well, this just shows that we get to do all these fun check marks. Saying we did that, we did that, we did that. See, we accomplished all our goals. Thank you, sir. All right, so now this is also just showing that we did everything that we set out to do. Okay, so that brings us to our proposed goals for 2023. So number 1 is bolster public safety, and this applies both to law enforcement and to our fire department. There's been a lot of talk in the community about whether real or perceived about increased crime in the community, and it's something that's been an ongoing discussion, I know, at the POA end here. So I think it's something the council probably wants to continue looking at and finding ways to increase our law enforcement presence in the community, but also finding ways to enhance an already phenomenal job our fire department's doing, finding ways to support them, finding ways to make sure that we keep the phenomenal staff that we have now and that we're able to continue recruiting good staff. And really to bolster our reserve program. That program has proven to be extremely valuable for our department and for the men and women who participate in the program. Public safety, I think, this council's made it very clear that public safety is the number one priority. Number two is to secure the long-term use of Fire Station 1 for the Canyon Lake Fire Department. As you know, for the past decades, the fire station has been leased by the city. It's owned by the POA, and now that we have our own fire department, we need to make sure that fire department has a home forevermore, and securing that long-term use is certainly probably a goal of this council in the coming year. Continued pursuit of BLM acquisition and annexation of developable parcels. We touched on this a minute ago. We've come a long way financially over the last few years, but looking long-term, we believe that economic development will be the answer and will be the future for Canyon Lake, so we need to continue to be creative and find ways to create those opportunities, and BLM land and annexation of developable parcels are probably the two opportunities to do that. Number four, successfully implement and manage the city's first commercial cannabis permit. So we all know that back in November, the first permit ever in the city's history was issued, and the business is working diligently towards getting to a point where they can open. All the documents have been submitted to our building department, and they should be open, actually they're contractually obligated to be open by June 1st at the latest. And of course, they're moving as quickly as they can to open as early as possible. Number five, to implement new fees for the adopted fee study. We just recently completed our fee study, and staff has a lot of work now to get all of that plugged into our system, to educate the public and our applicants on what the new fees and some new processes are. For example, our special event permit fees have, not just the dollar amounts have changed, but there are new tiers that have been created, and staff is working on implementing a new online portal so that people can apply and pay and do everything completely online to make that process much simpler and faster. Number six, to establish an events coordinator position and enhance existing city events. So we talked about the fact that we've really expanded the number of events that we put on. But one of our challenges as a small staff is that we don't have a community services department. So when the city puts on an event, at the staff level, the people working on that event are people that have other full-time jobs, and they're then pulled away from those jobs to work on events and come in very often on weekends and holidays. And so we think we've got a great slate of events now. We want to work on enhancing those, making those even bigger and better. But we need to alleviate some of the pressure on our existing staff. So it would be a good idea to either bring someone on as a part-time employee or under a contract to focus on putting on events and building lists of volunteers and organizing those volunteers and just really expanding what we're doing with events. Number seven, continue the execution of the ARPA work program. We are under a timeline to get this done. We have to have everything done by 2026. And we have some ambitious plans that the council has adopted here, including the design and build out of a new council chambers and new city hall, renovation of city hall offices. That project will take some time. It may take us a couple years to complete that project. And so our whole list of projects that we've adopted, we're making good progress, but that'll be a major focus in 2023. Once we get the Highway Safety Fund grant approved, then implementing the local road safety plan will be a focus. Mike Borja is going to be very busy with that one. We adopted the town center specific plan this past year, and to me, that's a very exciting plan. And really, very often a developer will come with an idea, and then the developer will have to put together a specific plan. But in this case, the city decided to do that part first on the front end, and we had some state grant funding that helped us do that. Paid for about half of that, and so we have a really exciting concept now in place that exists in our zoning for the town center, that it's a mixed use that has retail and restaurants on the first floor and residential above. It helped us meet our arena housing numbers, but it's nothing more than a planning document. And so we really could get more aggressive about going out and marketing this to development companies that may be interested. A couple of challenges. One, there are so many owners in the town center that doing an assemblage could really be a challenge. But the other challenge this year that we need to think about is, with the economy doing what it's doing, is this the right time? Is anyone going to be contemplating initiating new projects this year? But I know we're chomping at the bit to get economic development projects moving, so I guess it can't hurt to be out there and letting people know what we've got here. That we've got, really, if someone's willing to build what is in that plan, they need no additional entitlements. Entitlements are done. So for a developer, that should be a huge incentive. Number 10, continue to find ways to support local businesses in the Canyon Lake Chamber of Commerce. We talked about this a minute before. We've really enjoyed our relationship with the Chamber. This is one of the most business-friendly councils I've seen. This council has done everything that you can to support businesses through COVID, and always, really. And so we're meeting next week with the new Chamber president, and we're going to sit down and see if we can find ways to even deepen our relationship with the Chamber and continue to support businesses. Number 11, explore options for solidifying and diversifying city revenues. So this one's important. We're healthy. We've stopped the bleeding that once was, but we have ambitious projects. We have things that we really want to accomplish for this community, and things don't get less expensive over time. So we need to, we're disadvantaged here in that we have less of a sales tax base than most cities do. We're overly reliant on things like property tax and on the utility users tax, EMS subscription, and these other things we've come up with. But we need to really continue to find ways to diversify our city revenues, and I think that's going to be an important focus in the next maybe 2 years, 2-3 years. So with that, those 11 are the goals that are recommended by staff, and at this time it would probably be appropriate for the council to have discussion. If you like those goals, great. If you don't like any of them, great. If you'd like to add one or two, that's fine. If you'd like to strike one or two, but just let us know how we did on taking our best guess here.
All right, council, let's delete all and start over. So let's do this pretty simple. I'm going to start on number 1, but before we kind of go through, some things that we maybe want to add or take away, I really want us to put the lens on the fact that we're going to have to bring on a new city manager, and that city manager is going to need to take some time and realization of what work is to be a city manager in the city. And I think trying to ask that person to achieve all the greatness that we know that Chris can do, that he's proven himself now, and we need to be a little bit mindful of that, but also still bring goals forward that we know that we can achieve despite bringing on some new team members here in the city. So let's just start off by number 1. Obviously, public safety, that's an easy one. I think, for me, that's obviously been, a conversation that we have to continue, especially with what's going on with some of the crime that we're seeing. And I'm so happy that the POA is pushing for the camera program, but I think, we need to continue to do more. So for me, I'm good with public safety, unless we want to, add more to it, or just leave it as is.
I think bolster is a good word, but I think we could even expand it and include, maybe expand funding. A lot of people want another deputy. I'd like to see salaries be competitive for our firefighters. like to add a bunch of equipment, a whole nother fire station, I mean, whatever. Like, these are the things that I
Want
think
that
are.
helicopter?
Right, I mean, come on, fireboat.
Dalmatian.
Dalmatian. Right, no, but those are, I mean, we could literally just have that as a primary goal.
Okay. Change it maybe to find or allocate additional funding for public safety.
Spend all of our money on, okay, got it.
Stop.
Invest.
Are we good with that?
Invest in public safety.
Good word.
Public comment, I think a card wants to be filled out for a word that was said in public. All right. Okay, so I think we changed to invest into public safety. We make that, I believe that should be a number one priority. I like it at the top, although these goals don't have to, the top doesn't mean it's number one or not, but I think that one's good. Do I have a consensus on that? Moving on? Perfect. Number 2. This is a must. There's been conversation about the importance of our fire department having a home, as our city manager has indicated. I know that there's been conversations in the community of the importance of the city having more on what to do with this piece of property, just because we can apply for grants and all that. So I'm good with that. I think if we want to change the language on it, we can. But I believe that we owe it to the men and women that legitimately live in that building to make that a priority for this council. Want to change the language? You want to rip it up? You good with it?
Good.
Okay, I got a consensus on that. Number 3, pursuit of BLM land acquisition and annexation. This has been a conversation that we've been having for quite some time, and this is just full of red tape, which is why I think it's just going to take time. There's just no way around it. I don't think we can remove this. This one, in my mind, just always needs to be there because we're having meetings continually. I know that Bill Blankenship's working diligently with our congressman. Thank the Lord he got reelected. And so I think this needs to be, definitely there. And I'm good with it as is if everyone else is.
Yeah.
Does that work? All right. Number 4, weed, marijuana. This is the first for the city of Canyon Lake. Mr. City Manager, we're expecting, what do you think, like a July, August opening?
Well, so per the terms of the permit that was issued to them, they're required to obtain certificate of occupancy by June 1st.
Mm-hmm. So they have till June 1st to, essentially. So, I mean, this has to be here, obviously. This is new to us. So how we handle this and how we manage this, that's going to be brand new to the city. So any language change on this? Or are we good with keeping it as is?
No, I like it.
Okay.
We definitely want this to come off in a good way, so it definitely needs to be a focus. It's a risky new adventure for the city, and we always need to have risky new adventures come off well if at all possible, so focus is important.
I agree. All right, moving on, number 5, new fees. We had a very in-depth conversation at our last council meeting about all the fees that we looked at. I'm actually excited about this one just because I know the council wants to streamline some things, and a lot of it's beta testing for us too, so I think this is a must. I'm good with it as is. If anyone else wants to make a change or add to it, I think it's pretty simple though. We're gonna utilize our fees and approve them, and also the council's asking for the community to give us feedback too on how we can streamline some things.
Well, and remember, we held off on the EMS
Correct.
fee because we have to figure out things. We have to figure out costs, recovery, and what could potentially be built into those costs. Referencing number 2, so.
Oh, 100%.
I think we have to maybe, it could stay the same, but I think it could be expanded also.
Yeah, this one has to come to us sooner than later. Our deadline on EMS is May, have to adopt by June. Do I got that right?
Correct, so we'll have to bring, the council will have to adopt the fee in April, I believe. We'll bring it back in April.
So I think when we're looking at the fees, because the Councilwoman Castillo is referencing our EMS, which is 100% with the long-term play for fire, and it's all encompassing. You know, what we're gonna be paying, what a lease agreement looks like, what the cost of that is. So I think, you know, not that we should change the order, but maybe I just like the idea, for easy sakes, putting this one right next to number 2, because that's gonna come up quick, and that's gonna need to be a priority, and we're gonna need those numbers too on what that's gonna look like, especially with inflation, looking at cost of salary adjustments. There's a lot that's gonna be impacted by that EMS conversation that I think we need to have. So if anything, we move it, obviously. I know order is important, but for simplicity's sake, I think the two need to be in conjunction with one another, because the timing's gonna be there.
I think it's a focus on proper research for the decision. Right now, as we're talking, all I hear in my own mind is unknown, 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 unknown. And it's very important that the staff does appropriate research, that we do have the nodes, so that when the EMS fee does come up in council, that we're fully informed. And we've gone through a logical and an open process to get there.
Right. I mean, we usually just make the numbers up. I don't know.
I know
we're trying to fix that.
The audit definitely did not show that. We are on record, folks. Okay, so
Move it to 3.
move it to 3 if we're okay with that. Do we want to put some language in there, you know, identifying, because I mean, we're going to be implementing the new fees that, are they active right now, Chris, or we still got another 30 days?
So, you know, the law on this is certain types of fees can be implemented immediately upon adoption of the resolution. Other types of fees, you need to wait 60 days.
Right.
But all fees have to be entered into our system, and that's actually a timely process. So we decided on an implementation date of, was it March 1st for all fees, just across, to simplify it across the board. So all of the new fees will go live March 1st.
So
With the exception of EMS?
With the exception of
With the
EMS.
exception, so on your last day, you get to drop all the fees on Canyon Lake and say, bye-bye.
My gift to you.
Thank you.
How about establishing the EMS fees by our deadline date? We could add that. Some language to that effect.
We joke because we reduced most of the fees.
Oh, yeah, a lot of fees
I thought it was about time that we've done the work that we did. I mean, that was pretty substantial with the amount of fees that were looked at and readdressed. So I guess just for a placeholder, we can leave the language as is, but there's definitely going to be more there. So if you guys are okay with it, we'll bump it to 3 and just leave it the language as is, and we know what we're trying to achieve with this one. Is that good? Okay. Number 6, which would be number 5, but number 6, establish event coordinated positions and enhance existing city events. I think the city has done a tremendous job on networking with the community, and it's been positive too. I mean, Winter Wonderland has been a huge success. Despite COVID, we still persevered. I think this is a must. Councilwoman Castillo, this is your baby. What do you think? You want to change the language? You like it?
I like it. I think, you know, most of the interior committees that are standing for events like Memorial Day and Veterans Day, we co-chair, and if Anna's gonna be gone, we need to make sure that we have someone who's reliable and understands that this is the most patriotic city in America, and we need to make sure that we continue to represent.
I think the only thing, and you would know better than me, that maybe we can add is, and I know, Anna, we've tried to do this, or we have a list out there, but, you know, a volunteer list, and trying to really focus in on who is a volunteer, who's still alive on that list, who's still active, who's still helping. Because I know we've had several different people, different community members who had control of the volunteer list. And maybe if we actually spend some time and energy at the city to develop that list and have some good stakeholders on you know, people helping out. I think one of the the coolest things the city's done is our flag program, which I know we got to do again this year, and every home in Canyon Lake gets a flag. And that can't be done without the amazing volunteers. She has the list. So we need to laminate that thing, because that has to happen again. That was incredible. So I would say the only thing I would like to add is if it's okay with the council, making sure that not just a position, but within that position, we do have a real volunteer list of community members that want to participate and help with the city.
Do we currently, for these events, have separate committees that the general public is involved in?
No, we generally discourage that. Just kidding. So we have
The audience doesn't have gummy bears, Chris. You can't do that. They don't got the sugar high.
Again, historically, when I 4 years ago, there was really only the veterans event. I mean, that was the only event the city put on, and there was a long-standing committee that handled Veterans Day. And as the city started to expand its slate of events, we really just did it in-house with staff. And so more recently, Councilwoman Castillo and Councilwoman Dane have really kind of taken over the Veterans event committee, correct? But we haven't, speaking frankly, from a staff perspective, while it's fantastic to have a group of engaged volunteers who want to help with the event, it makes decision-making really difficult. And we find that we're scrambling at the last minute because it takes months of meetings to make decisions, and now it's too late to reserve things that we need to reserve. And so, like for example, Winter Wonderland. It's a big event. It takes up a lot of the town center here, but it's actually pretty efficient to put together. It doesn't take a huge amount of staff time in the planning, right? If you committed that, it would become a whole different animal and take a lot more staff time. So that's a long-winded answer to a simple question.
And I think it's important to distinguish the difference between what a city event is, where Winter Wonderland is primarily run by the city, and some other events that we have that are more community-based. And I think it's having someone who can look at this and maybe decide that there's only certain things that the city's going to be responsible for, and then certain things that the general public can do. Correct. So.
And implementation in the planning stages is not necessarily the same thing as day of volunteers, which are essential.
Correct. Yes. Correct.
And I think that's the distinction that we make, right? It's not to, committee it out. It's more just to have bodies when we need them to help to facilitate, because that's a big part of it.
Correct.
So day of setup committee.
We have amazing volunteers who have consistently been, Debbie Gagnon comes to mind, just people who it's their baby, and we need them.
Incorporate some mention of volunteers.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
At least a list or communication or some aspect in that. Okay, everyone good with that? I think we're good on, going back to number 6, I think we're good on our events. We've killed it. I think we've figured out what we can and can't do. So I don't think it's adding additional events unless, things come up, right? That's what happens to this community.
I have the word of these two.
This conversation's already happened.
Oh, yes. Our current list is good.
Our current list is good. Well, Canyon Lake, we show up, so if something happens. Okay, good. So we're good with what we got. It's just enhancing, making it even better. So, wow, sensitive subject. Number 7, ARPA funds, work program. Are we good with it? We want to make some changes. It's a big one. There's a lot going on. We've done this. We've allocated funds. We want to see some changes.
And we'll continue bringing this back as we go.
Yeah. It's a moving goal. Are we good leaving it as is?
Yes.
Okay, good. Number 8, I think this one's good. Implement the local road safety plan. I know that we did a study, I think it was last year, we paid some money, a speed study sort of thing, find out the different type of traffic, so we were able to see how many accidents took place. There's just either a lot of bad drivers or it's been rough. There's been a lot of accidents on Railroad Canyon. So I think this has got to be a priority. I think it's our responsibility to find a way to fix that. I know that I've been working with Mike also on our sound wall because that thing needs to be repainted. I'm getting, quite a few emails from folks that live on that side, so I think this could be put into that as well. I know that we're also looking at repainting all of our lights and our stoplight different colors, so that probably is in this too.
Yeah, Railroad Canyon needs a lot of work.
It does.
And plans are in the works to do that.
Any changes on number 8? Everyone good? All right, town center specific plan for development. Don't say the word skyscraper.
This is really a question that staff went back and forth whether or not to include this. I think it needs to be a priority for the city at some point. The question is 2023 the right time to begin this effort? There are people on this council that know a lot more about the real estate market than I do, so I'll defer to your wisdom.
I think this is, in my opinion, I think this is one that we just keep in the back burner. I mean, to be honest with you, especially within the next 6 or 8 months, nothing's gonna happen on this one. I would hate to use the real estate space of this item, and maybe we could put something else in there that makes sense for now.
But at the same time, we're using the word marketing, which means we're simply introducing the idea possibly to developers. I mean, you can know that perhaps there's going to be no movement on it, but at the same time, the sooner you start introducing this to developers, just my opinion, the sooner that you gain traction, you gain interest. Regardless of whether next year's a good year or the year after is not a good year, however that may work out, I like the word marketing. So in other words, what we're doing is simply courting opportunity.
What's the action on beginning marketing, Mr. City Manager? Does that require funds?
Sure, yeah.
What would that look like?
Well, on the front end, we'll probably, we need to come up with marketing materials, pretty pictures and flyers, and just kind of some quick facts about our specific plan. Then we have to decide how to distribute that information, get it out. I mean, a lot of cities do things like attend the ICSC conference and have a booth and, go around with their marketing materials to the different development companies and solicit input. It could be directly calling companies in the region that we know do these types of developments and setting up meetings and sitting down. I mean, really, it's going to keep Bill Blankenship pretty busy.
Yeah. So do we want to allocate that staff time to marketing the town center, I guess is the real question, and the dollars needed to facilitate that marketing for next year, 2023.
You make a great point. Perhaps what I'm getting at is starting to have internal conversations regarding the possibility of marketing the specific plan. I know you and I have talked about this, and you're constantly telling me to settle down a little bit. But when you start taking a look at those opportunities that we have as a city for economic growth, this is definitely one of the big areas that we have as a possibility. As soon as someone says yes, they want to develop it. But I do agree with you. We don't want to take up a bunch of time. We also, at this point, I would agree, don't want to be spending a whole lot of money, but internal conversations and the possibility of meeting with by word of mouth or relationships that we already have with developers and at least introducing the idea.
Can I speak on that? I completely agree with Mark. You are never going to know when an opportunity is going to arise or present itself. The fire department is a perfect example of how the stars aligned and timing was there, and had we not had those conversations when that timing came to fruition, we would not have been in a position to jump on the opportunity. And so I like what Mark is saying about, developing relationships, if nothing else, so that should an opportunity come our way that we don't want to miss out on, that we're not completely unprepared, and to focus that it can't fit in our agenda.
Mark, what about this? What if we begin to develop the marketing internally so that we're prepared? And maybe not, push and try to have staff go out and go to different, events and coordination, but at least we have the material beginning stages here at City, so that way, we're prepared if any relationships or any conversations.
I think that's what I'm speaking to.
Absolutely.
It's just basically developing a game plan.
So let's just add the word developing. Begin developing marketing the town center specific plan for development. So I think we're going to begin developing internally that marketing packet. So that way we have some literature ready to go if there's any conversation that takes place or any relationship that might come our way or an opportunity. So we have something to say, hey, look, this is why you need to come do business here in Canyon Lake. This is our specific plan for the town center. So we have something prepared.
It could be as simple as just developing strategies.
I'm just going to send you.
Okay.
I think that's what we do.
The possibility of rolling into item 3, where we have continued pursuit of BLM land acquisition, town center development, and annexation of developable partners. So it still stays on our goal list, but it becomes kind of it doesn't become a priority to the level of being a complete goal item on its own. But it's all kind of falling under that economic development picture. I'm good either way. I'm just saying, I think we're trying to take it away from driving a lot of staff resources to something that the economic window is not huge right now. But I think when the window opens, we need to be ready.
Yeah, I agree. Are we good with that then? Give direction on that?
To combine?
Yeah. Are you guys good with that, combining that? Okay, let's do that.
Let's see, I'm sorry, let's just make sure I'm understanding. But we're combining marketing, or beginning the marketing process, materials, and maybe a marketing plan, but then.
I like it being separate, personally.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think we've made our point either way.
So I misspoke. I was indicating on the marketing for the town center as a standalone, just moving forward with getting the documentations in line.
Okay, so maybe, we're focused on designing the marketing plan and materials.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And just that alone, you know.
Even if it's just discussions.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're good on that. Everyone good? Can I move on to number 10? I think this one's awesome. Our president's in the house for the Chamber of Commerce. So I think this is a priority. We have to continue to find ways. I think everyone on this council, except for you, Dale, because you're retired as a business owner, and we are a business-friendly community. So I think continuing to find ways to support our local businesses. I know the Chamber's working hard to bring more notice to our at-home businesses, so maybe we can look at ways to help with that from a city standpoint, whether it's technology or building that relationship. So I'm good with leaving this as is if everyone else is, unless they want to add something to it. We're good with that. I know we allocated the ARPA funds. Are we going to be able to look at that again for businesses? Is that something that we did a one-time shot, or are we going to be able to go for it again?
Yeah, that was a one-time shot. And frankly, when it came to the business grants, it was really a struggle to get applicants. And of all of I think we ended up with maybe 6 applicants, and only one of them was really qualified to receive the grants.
That's disappointing. It's actually a good thing though, right?
Well, it is, and I think one of the challenges to trying to give away ARPA money to businesses is that Canyon Lake businesses overall did quite well.
Yeah, very well.
Yes.
Yeah. Way to go, Canyon Lake. Okay, any changes on number 10? We good? Cool, moving on. 11, all right, diversifying city revenues. Mr. City Manager, deep dive on this. What are we thinking here?
Well,
because it sounds good, but what are we trying to do?
We may have to get creative with
some of the aspects of the UT moving forward. We may want to look at, you know, I hate to use the T word.
Don't you dare say
It's
taxes.
a
to
dirty
me.
word,
I know, it's nasty.
But I'm leaving so I can say it.
Okay.
I think, you know, we've talked about the fact that one of the things this city is really missing out on that all of our neighbors are enjoying is that Canyon Lake has never adopted a city sales tax above the county tax. And historically, that really hasn't been all that important to Canyon Lake because we just don't have that many sales tax generating businesses within our city. So if you imposed a city sales tax, it wouldn't amount to all that much. What's changed is that when you have a city sales tax, so let's say you have a 1 cent sales tax, which is what the city of Wildomar, for example, instituted. You know, the city of Lake Elsinore has one, the city of Menifee has one. Now you're collecting that 1% on not just sales that are generated within your city boundaries, but on every online sale that's delivered within the city. Every Amazon order, every Walmart order, every time someone purchases a vehicle outside the city, a boat, an RV. Right now, the city gets no sales tax on any of that, none of it. And that really saved Wildomar's bacon. You know, I mean, that was a game changer for them. We're one of the only cities in the region that don't have that. And since we are so handicapped on sales tax within the city, which is really the primary revenue source that most cities rely on, I think it's something the city needs to really contemplate at some point. That's one example.
Any discussion? Everyone's scared to have that discussion.
Am I correct in saying that the residents would have to vote on that and approve it?
Correct.
Is that
yes.
correct? Or
Yes,
is
sir.
it-
And you know, by law, a tax measure like that can only be on the ballot during a regularly scheduled election. So for the city of Canyon Lake, the next opportunity would be November of 2024.
Yeah. And now the new law requires, it's what, 70%? What is it? What is it? Is it 2/3 still?
Well, a general
Yeah.
tax is still simple majority.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion?
My other comment is income and expenses are always a little unpredictable. We always don't know where they're going to land. And I think we always have to be aware of where that balance is for us in our forward planning. And if our forward planning or the situation in our economic situation gets unstable, then we need to explore options. At least for the next 6 months, I think we're good. But beyond that, we always have to keep our head above the water and be looking around to see where we are at economically. And I think we need to be aware and be working on that.
And I think it's important just this should be something that's always a goal. I think a perpetual goal, because we always need to look at different avenues. Things change, circumstances change, so we need to make sure we're not stagnant in what we're doing and what we're expecting.
Well, you know, and because Canyon Lake has not enjoyed a healthy sales tax revenue stream, over the years, the city's had to get creative. You know, the voters imposed upon themselves a utility users tax. They implemented an EMS subscription program. You know, even programs that are primarily designed to, you know, protect or enhance quality of life, like the residential rental inspection program, that brings in revenue. When we renegotiated our trash line contract with CR&R, that was a significant revenue stream. But over time, laws change. There are court rulings that affect some of those revenue streams. There are legal attacks. We have lawsuits challenging revenue streams. And, you know, the thing about a sales tax is, can't attack it. It is what it is. It will be there, you know. So just something to think about long term.
Any change anyone wants to make to the language on that? Everyone good keeping it on the list?
Yes.
All right. What do we want to add?
My comment is everything we've seen on our list is inward focused. I'm all good on inward focused, but we don't have anything externally focused. And on our last goal, we had the build and maintain positive regional relationships. I think we do a good job, but I was telling Chris, we get what we measure, we get what we report. And if we want to stay on track with our positive and regional relationships, then I think it should be reported annually on how we did. And I don't think it's gonna add any more work. I think you're already doing the work, but I think you might wanna take credit for it, and we definitely don't wanna forget the importance of that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I like it.
Okay, we good with that? All right. I think, we've put this on the list before, and I'm not willing to give up. I'm gonna keep trying. But I think, building our relationship with our POA is a must. We've floated some ideas, haven't we, Mr. City Manager, on some ideas of collaborating together. I think the building department, is still a common ground where Canyon Lakers, not POA members, not taxpayers, Canyon Lakers are the same people, don't know where they're going and who they're talking to, and I think there's a way to streamline that process. So amongst, Councilmember Welty, Mayor Pro Tem Welty, as you indicated, outward looking, I think, being a better service to our community, partnering with our POA on anything at this point. But directly in regards to building or public safety, I know that I was excited to get the call from Bill in regards to the camera program here and the partnership that the city is going to have with the POA and the Sheriff's Department, but I know we can do more for Canyon Lakers. So I would like, if it's okay with this council, to put that as a goal, that we try to break bread on something that makes sense for the community.
Mr. Mayor, may I suggest some language to add to number 12 then, and we combine them?
Yeah.
We could say, build and maintain relationships regionally and with the POA.
That's great. I'm good with that if everyone else is.
Good.
Thank you for not giving up with me, council. We'll keep trying. All right, anything else?
That's good.
I think this is a great list. I'm excited. We got a lot to do. We did a lot. So, kudos to the staff, kudos to the council. 2022 was an amazing year. 2023 is going to be a different year. We're going to have a couple staff members leaving us. We're going to miss you guys. I know this isn't the end. We still have you for a couple months. But if it wasn't for the vision of our team, we would not have been able to do any of the great things that we've done in the last couple of years. So I just want to say thank you. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Anything else we want to add? Discussion? Goals? We good? All right.
Mr. Mayor, if we could just have a vote on that to
Do we
adopt
have
the goals as
any?
discussed.
Yeah. Do we have any last questions from council? Madam Clerk, do we have any comment cards on this?
No comments.
Perfect. I do need a motion and a second to adopt our goals for 2023.
Motion. Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Castillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Councilmember Terry.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Welty.
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, moving on. City manager's comments.
Nothing to add this evening.
Awesome. Good job, Chris. Kudos to you. You get a raise before you leave. All right, Russian roulette time. Council member roundup. Let's go with Councilmember Dane. Let us know what's going on.
All right. I was honored to represent Canyon Lake at the December Student of the Month award presentations again. I was a little bit worried that I missed it this month and realized it's not till next week, so that's good. We had a Canyon Laker that was recognized, and hopefully she will be here next month at our meeting so we can formally recognize her. But I know I talk about this all the time, but the students and this meeting in particular, the caliber of the students and the adversity that they've gone through to get to where they are to win these Student of the Month awards it's amazing. The challenges that they go through and still cream of the crop. We had I know a lot of you have seen, we had a student who was one of the first Students of the Month last year, who also was awarded a scholarship by the city this year and just won a $10,000 grant for a business that he's starting. So we've got some great kids in our area, in our schools. And I think we hear a lot of bad things about the kids in school and bad things that are going on, but there's a lot of really good things and a lot of really good students here locally from Canyon Lake that participate. Happy New Year to everybody. It's almost time to stop saying that. I think we're done. I tend to attend my first RCA meeting, so that was interesting. I'm looking forward to being with that group. And I think finally, and probably everybody will agree with this, but very, very sad about the news that some of our staff leaving, but congratulations on your new opportunity. But sad for us.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Walty.
Yeah, I had my first meeting at the Environmental and Energy meeting with SCAG. It was terribly interesting. I'm the new guy. I tipped my toe in the water, did a lot of listening. I always say when you first get on a committee, you got to have big ears, kind of a small mouth. So I don't have much to report. They're working on some environmental issues, and they're trying to do some regional coordination of rules so that developers moving from one area to another basically have the kind of a standard set of rules to go by. So every time you go to a new city, you're not surprised by a new set of goals or requirements that have to account to. The roundtable was great this week. We missed Chris, but I got to give a shout out for old Corey. Corey filled in, and he didn't miss a beat. And for a minute, I thought I was listening to Chris. So great job, Corey. And I got to say the city Winter Wonderland was incredible. Of course, the boat parade was incredible. The temperature was perfect for Winter Wonderland. It was just warm enough to be very comfortable, but cold enough so that snow out there held on. So the kids weren't walking around in the cold water. So what a great event, and especially for the little guys. So just want to kudos to you guys for putting it on.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Castillo.
I was honored to attend along with the mayor and Councilmember Terry the swearing in of our sheriff for his new term. So we are grateful to our Sheriff Bianco and look forward to continuing working with him. Today was our first meeting of our new Finance and Planning Committee with Councilmember Dane, and I think that went very well. Excited about our goals, and if you could just remind everyone that at our Christmas party, I did meet not only my husband,
Okay, that doesn't count.
but the mayor and the city manager
That
in
that
Topgolf.
doesn't count.
It does.
I had way too many Diet Cokes that night.
By a lot, by a lot. I beat them.
We weren't paying attention. Come on. Well done. Okay. On that note, Councilmember Terry, can you please change the slide back now?
We still golfed on Wednesday. My committee, the Western Riverside Council of Governments, does not meet this month, but I'm looking forward to our first meeting next month. As Councilwoman Castillo stated, it was just an honor to attend the swearing in of our sheriff, and just some terrific leadership that he provides. And I think as a county, we are more fortunate than almost any county in the United States. I also would like to once again thank Darcy and all the people at Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District. Again, I can't encourage you more to seek further information regarding what they do, and I think it would be definitely enlightening. I did attend on behalf of the city, the Cal Cities Riverside County Division and General Membership, and which was hosted by the city of Coachella, and was honored to represent our city. On a personal note, Chris and Anna, happy for you both. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Terry. Busy time of year and a lot going on, and it was incredible seeing the swearing-ins of that week. Mike Hestron, saw him get sworn in last Friday, Chad Bianco Thursday, our judges on Tuesday. And then Chris and I were able to go to the county to watch the supervisors get sworn in, along with Ben Benoit for auditor controller, and we do have a new supervisor, Karen Spiegel, so we got to watch her get sworn in. She ran unopposed, and that was great. A lot of great things happening. A couple things to report. I always like to do a real estate update. That's kind of my gig. Average price home here, $656,000, $321 a square foot. Everyone should be calculating their little 401ks right now. 14 closed sales in December. A lot of people trying to get in before the end of the year. RTA, Riverside Transportation Agency, we had some leadership changes. We honored a council member in Temecula, Zach, he was our chair, and Linda Molina in Calamasa took over that. And then I don't know what they were thinking, but they nominated me as vice chair. So that'll be fun for the city of Canyon Lake. We started a new program within RTA looking at a Go Micro, which is essentially a government way to say Uber. So that's going to start December 19th. It started December 19th in Hemet, Santa Cena. So you might see these Go Micro buses going around the community. It started in the valley. It's going to start going out through the county. So trying to be creative with transportation. Lastly, we have so much to be thankful for in this community. I wanted to change the slide because, it's tough when you look at that photo and you see where we live. Not the terrible golf score that Casey tried to throw up there. But when you look at that amazing picture of our community and you think about the opportunities that we get to make change in this community, I'm very humbled to be up here with my colleagues, and I'm very humbled that we get to hear from our fire chief that came to us and started an incredible fire department. And when we get to come together as a community and honor the ones that lost their life and gave the ultimate sacrifice, Captain Rails has indicated to us that we're a unique city because we start off with prayer. There's so much here in this community that we have to be grateful for. So I'm very humbled. I had a lot of time over the holidays to reflect on how grateful I am personally to serve this community. I take it very seriously, and I just want to simply say thank you. So with that, I'm going to close out our council member comments. I have an announcement to make. Our next regular council meeting will be Wednesday, February 8th at 5 p.m. Closed session at 6:30. I'm not going to adjourn the meeting because we're going to go back into closed session. So that's that. We good? Do I need to report anything out? Going back into closed session, it is for the time 8:37. Thank you everyone for participating and staying with us tonight.